Hello, Sunshine Fam. Welcome back to my channel. I keep saying the same intro every single time. I really need to, lighten it up a little bit. I'm trying to think of the right words. I've been at a loss for words for a while when I try to say things. And I always repeat myself on a lot of things too. So today I'm going to talk about, by the way, my name is Chloe. Hi. I'm going to talk about a difficult subject that I've been doing some research on, and I wrote down this information several weeks ago, and it was after another school shooting that we had heard about. I think this one was in Madison, Wisconsin. That prompted me to do research on this. School shootings are becoming too commonplace in this country, and to the point where we feel the shock when we first hear the news. And to those of us that are not directly affected by it, like we don't know anybody that has had children that have been killed in school, or even mass shootings. I do mention something about that in here too, about a mass shooting. Most of what I wrote down was specifically about school shootings. But, or we may not have children that went to a school that had a shooting, which I guess we can consider ourselves the lucky ones thus far. But it's becoming all too commonplace. And how I want to start this out is I want to ask a question. You can consider it a rhetorical question if you'd like, or if you choose to answer it in your own opinion, your own words, your own research, whatever, I have to ask. I know I have said many times over many different platforms and to many different people that we should just turn off the news and live life, not really to the point where we ignore all the bad things that are going on in the world, but in my opinion, I think the news kind of fuels all of this negativity that we see every day when we turn on the news. Whether it's your local news, whether it's your state news, whether it's national news, whether it's international news. And this has been going on for far too long. And what comes to mind is how the news media covered, sorry, I have been sneezing all afternoon, so I might be sneezing a few times in here. That's what I get for not taking my allergy meds. But after 9/11, the news media was very careful on how they reported it. Yes, we kept seeing the images all day long, for weeks on end, months on end, and even during, right around the anniversary time every year, they again focus on 9/11, especially on the day of 9/11, for those of us that live in the U.S. But they weren't so gung-ho to get out every little detail of that day until they had most of the information correct. I'm not saying that everything that they reported was correct to start with. But if you think about it, something could happen in 30 seconds from now, and 10 seconds later you're seeing it on the news. And they don't have all the factual information. But they're quick to put it out. So here's my question. Do you ever think with these news reporters, whether it be print or television, Do you think they ever go home at the end of the day after reporting all this negative news and flop on their chairs or flop in their beds at the end of their workday and say, what am I doing with my life? Why am I going back to this job every day? What is my life really worth when all I have to do is report these stabbings and killings and wars and negativity all day long? Like, when was the last time you turned on the news and all the news stories were all positive news stories? Maybe never. Maybe never. But I think every day that goes by, every week, every month, every year that goes by, you hear less and less about positivity on the news. And it's really sad that we kind of feed into that by turning on our TVs and thinking we can't go a day without watching the news. I was watching an interview, and I know this is like way off topic of what I want to talk about today, but I was watching an interview of when Prince Harry was promoting his book. And he was talking to, what talk show was it? Can't remember. Stephen Colbert. And one thing Prince Harry said was not only was he on like a food diet, but he was on a digital diet where he kind of like fasted from watching social media and news, and he said, my life is so much better for it. What if we all took that to heart and we did that the way that Prince Harry did? Would our lives be better? Would there maybe not be so much negativity? Would there maybe not be school shootings as often as we hear about them? Because in my humble opinion, as they say, I think that these mass shootings, whether they're schools or churches or movie theaters or malls or just down the street, I think these people are just looking for their 15 minutes of fame. Like the Parkland school shooter. He made a video about it and he gloated the day of the shooting before he went to the school. He gloated that he was going to be the next school shooter. He prided himself on that. Now, granted, you obviously know that he's got mental problems, seeing how he reacted in the police interview afterwards. If you've ever seen it, it's quite long. Was that for show because he knew that there was a camera in the room? I don't know. But I think that's why a lot of these school shootings happen. That's one reason. That's one reason. And I do get into other reasons in this. So what I wrote down, what I researched on my own, had nothing to do about media, social media or anything. I compared school shootings in the US versus the world. And the reason I did the world is because of what one student said when they were meeting with Trump after the Parkland shooting, where he compared how many school shootings the US has as opposed to Australia. And I think that might be in here too, maybe not. I guess I don't have Australia in here, but I will get into that. So, reference the scene from the newsroom. First thing I wrote down was reference the scene from the newsroom. And I think you guys all know what I'm talking about. It was that brilliant speech delivered by Jeff Daniels' character, Will McAvoy, where the student gets up and asks, what makes America the greatest country in the world? And he just went on and on and on, and then halfway through he kind of calmed down a little bit, and he said, America used to be a great country. I won't go into the whole speech, but the most brilliant line, I feel, in that whole speech was towards the end of it, where he said, I keep forgetting how it starts. Something along the lines of the way to solve any problem. Maybe I even have it in here. Hold on. I think I may have written it down. Maybe not. Although my next video will be more about that, because I have another one, more information on the back of this paper that I'm not going to get into in this video. I'll do it in another one. But he basically says something along the lines of the way to solve any problem is to recognize that there is one. And I think that's what I meant when I said reference the scene from the newsroom. That's a very brilliant line. So everybody always comments about Columbine, that it was the first major school shooting in the US. It actually was not. It was the first major school shooting maybe in recent times, but, because that happened in 99, I think it was, did I write 99? Yeah, that happened in 1999. But a lot of people forget about the Texas University Bell Tower school shooting, which I do reference in that. That happened back in 1966. And that was televised live. And that was unusual for that time period. So, going in order from the most recent major school shooting to the oldest, I wrote down Uvalde, Texas, which was in May of 2022. 19 people were killed, plus 2 teachers. That was an elementary school, and they compared that with the second one, which is Sandy Hook in Connecticut. And that was in December of 2012, so 10 years prior to that. 20 children and 6 adults were killed in that one. And that was very, very sad. That also was an elementary school. The next one down, or maybe I did it in order. No, why did I do it like this? I didn't do it by date, I guess, because I'm noticing that they're a little bit out of date. Then I put Parkland, Florida, and that was in February of 2018. Well, guess what? We're in February of 2025, and 17 kids were killed in that school shooting. And I think that also included 2 teachers. I didn't put that down here. That was a high school. And then you have Virginia Tech, which happened in 2007. That one was the worst school shooting that we've had, that I have on this list. It was 27 kids and 5 adults. Well, granted, okay, that was a college. So when I say kids, they're kids to me, but they're basically adults because you're in college. But 27 students, we'll say, and 5 adults, teachers, were killed in that one. Columbine was in April of 1999. 12 children and 1 teacher was killed in that one. That also was a high school. And then, as I said, Texas University was in August of 1966, and 17 people were killed in that one. So just totaling those, that's 126 people killed in what? 6 school shootings from 1966 to 2022. That's terribly sad. And I'm sorry to bring you down on this, but when a school shooting happens, The media and everybody always goes to gun control, the NRA. Yes, that's a problem. But further down on the list, I will tell you other things that contribute to these school shootings. So, from January of 2009 through May of 2018, this is what I found. In the United States, 288 people have been, I think these are shootings, not people. 288 shootings, school shootings. These are just specifically school shootings. From 2009 through 2018, so that's 9 years. 288. Mexico only had 8. South Africa, 6. Nigeria and Pakistan combined, 4. Afghanistan, 3. Brazil, Canada, and France each had 2. Actually, I think Nigeria and Pakistan each had 4. I think that's how I did it. Oh yeah, actually I do have Australia on this. Azerbaijan, I might be mispronouncing that country name, China, Estonia, Germany, Greece, Hungary, Kenya, Russia, Turkey, and Australia. Each of those countries in 9 years only had 1 school shooting. So why is it so high in the US? Rhetorical, or you could answer. The common link I found, it varies from various forms of abuse, family dysfunction, mental illness, psychological problems. Now, if we delve into the mental illness, shortly after the Sandy Hook shooting, and I'll be darned if I can find that video again, but I was doing research back then. Actually, I think it was after Parkland, Florida, and I started doing research. And the video I found was done with, I don't even know who it was, but it was like an interview with somebody. And he was referencing the most recent video, school shooting, which was Sandy Hook at the time. And he said that the common denominator in all these school shootings with the shooters is that they were either on an antidepressant or an anti-anxiety medication. And that includes the 2 kids from Columbine, the 2 shooters from Columbine. So maybe it's not so much gun control that we need to worry about. Maybe it's more mental health. So the common link, I already read that, sorry. So other triggers include depression, suicidal thoughts, feeling of persecution. I think that's what I wrote, persecution. The biggest one, retaliating against bullying, as was the case in Virginia Tech. Because when he made his video, he constantly put in his video how much he was tired of being bullied because of his nationality. If I remember right, he was Southeast Asian. I don't remember which country, Korea or Vietnam, one of those. Romantic rejection and a desire for attention. That kind of goes back to my question at the beginning and how the media feeds off of this stuff. And the kids see that others are getting attention on the news and they want attention too. So hey, let's steal my parents' guns. Let's go buy a gun on the internet. Let's go to a flea market and buy a gun. Let's go to a gun show and buy a gun. They're not going to ask for my ID. They're not going to ask for my license that I can, or my permit that I can own a gun. Something like 60 Minutes did either 60 Minutes or Nightline, one of those, 2020, did research on this. And they got, I don't remember how they found these people, but it was a mother and a son. And the son wasn't into guns at all. But they wanted to see how easy it was for this kid, who was a teenager, high schooler, to buy a gun. So what this guy did is he would send this kid into like a convenience store and a gas station to see if he could buy cigarettes or alcohol, and if he was carded. And sure enough, he was, because he was under the age of 21. And they wouldn't sell it to him. Then they take this kid to a gun show. The kid looks at different guns, and of course this is with the mother's permission. And the kid said he wanted to buy an AR-15. The guy behind the table didn't even bat an eye. Sold him the gun without an ID. Tell me how scary that is. On the internet, you can buy anything, and you can fake anything on the internet. Now, I'm not saying that to get you guys to go out and do this, okay? I don't like guns. I don't want to see any more news stories or hear any more news stories about mass shootings, school shootings, any of that ever again. I know that's not possible because it's going to happen again because of history. 288 people, or 288 shootings in 9 years in the U.S. That doesn't even equal all these other countries that I read off and how many school shootings they've had all together. I just shake my head at this. In the U.S., there are 87 school shootings per year average. 87. Again, that doesn't even equal all these other countries that I read up here. The worst mass shooting here in the United States, I'll bet you can guess what it is. And it happened not long ago, not back in 2017. Las Vegas. The Route 91, that music festival from the Mandalay Bay. 58 people were killed. And to this day, nobody has any clue why that guy did it. But here's the scary part, okay? Let's see, what else did I put on here? That was on October 1st of 2017. Here's the scary part about that. Vegas wasn't his first choice. He was actually going to show up at the Blues Festival in Chicago that summer. And he scoped it out and he realized that he couldn't get a decent shot, so he didn't do it there. So I guess good on you, Chicago. But 57 people. He didn't know those people. Those people didn't do anything to him. He never left a note. Even his brother, who ran his mouth off to the media instead of talking to the authorities, that whole family is dysfunctional. But even his brother had no clue why he did it. You know, in the interview that before the CCTV videos were released that showed the opposite of what his brother said, his brother said, oh no, he would not have brought those guns into that room. He would have had a bellhop do it. He would have paid the bellhop to bring it up on one of those little carts. Well, then we found out later that he was actually the one. I don't want to use his name because then that glamorizes the shooter. Why? And as I'm looking at my table, it just shocks me. I mentioned Uvalde, Texas, and sometimes I buy these magazines with major news stories, and this happens to be the one that I just found on my table. From Uvalde, and on the back, I wasn't even planning on using this in this video. It says, never again. Sandy Hook Elementary School, December 14th, 2012. Hazard Community College, January 15th, 2013. Chicago State University, January 16th, 2013. University of Central Florida, March 18th, 2013. Santa Monica College, June 7th, 2013. North Panola High School, August 23rd, 2013. Look at all these from 2013. Oh my gosh, this is scary. Sparks Middle School, October 21st, 2013. I guess they go in date order, maybe? Arapahoe High School, December 13th, 2013. Purdue University, January 21st, 2014. South Carolina State University, January 24th, 2014. Los Angeles Valley College, January 25th, 2014. Reynolds High School, June 10th, 2014. Marysville Pilchuck High School, October 24th, 2014. Umpqua Community College, October 1st, 2015. So that was almost a year, that was over a year, almost a year later. Independence High School, February 12th, 2016. UCLA Los Angeles, June 1st, 2016. Townville Elementary School, September 28th, 2016. Scullin Middle School, January 27th, 2017. So I guess it's good to see that they're, maybe these are major school shootings, because I'm sure there were a lot more than this. But it's good to see that as you get closer to more recent times, there's not as many, at least on this list. North Park Elementary School, April 10th, 2017. North Lake College, May 4th, 2017. Rancho Tehama Elementary School, November 14th, 2017. Aztec High School, December 7th, 2017. I guess there was a lot in that year too. Marshall County High School, January 23rd, 2018. Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School, Parkland, Florida, February 14th, 2018. Happy Valentine's Day. Central Michigan University, March 2nd, 2018. Great Mills High School, March 20th, 2018. Santa Fe High School, March 18th, 2018. I guess never happened that year. University of North Carolina at Charlotte, April 30th, 2019. STEM School Highlands Ranch, May 7th, 2019. Saugus High School, November 14th, 2019. Pleasantville High School, November 15th, 2019. Searles Elementary School, November 23rd, 2019. Sarah J. Anderson Elementary, November 26th, 2019. Bel Air High School, January 14th, 2020. Texas A&M University, February 3rd, 2020. Oxford High School, November 30th, 2021. Bridgewater College, February 1st, 2022. And then Robb Elementary School, May 24th, 2022. 21 kids killed there, or people. I think there was maybe a teacher in there too. Teacher or two. And it's interesting, in the little bubble down here it says, when is enough going to be enough? How many times does it have to keep happening? And that was said by an 11-year-old. Oh no, I'm sorry. That was the teacher, or the father of an 11-year-old that was killed. It seems like a lot of these school shootings happen towards the end of the school year. Columbine was in April. Parkland was on Valentine's Day. Uvalde, when did I say that one was? May. Almost the end of the school year. Do the kids just get sick and tired of being in school? Do they get tired of being bullied? Where do we start to end this? How do we end it? I've got a thought on that. An Australian stand-up comedian had put out a bit on in a video from years ago when Trump was running for president the first time, and he was talking a lot about Trump, and Not going to get into that, into the politics of it, but one thing he said toward the end of his bit was hate breeds hate. You might hate somebody and they might hate you back. But what if you become the bigger person in that? And one thing he said is, what if you turn that around and start loving that person? Doesn't mean that that person's going to start loving you back. They might still hate your guts. But maybe if we start spreading love in this world. One of my Sunshine fam just recently said that to me, actually. I won't call you out, but you know who you are. We need to start spreading love. Didn't John Lennon sing about that? All we are saying, oh, that was about peace though, is give peace a chance. That whole video is quite controversial, actually, if you watch it. He and Yoko are sitting in bed, and then they do, like, you know, during the verses of it, you can't hardly hear what he's talking about because he goes through it so fast. But he's got all these, I think it was from back in the 60s or 70s or something, when there was a lot of turmoil in this country. Not that there's any less now, but he and Yoko were sitting in bed, and they had all these people around their bed and filming with them sitting in bed singing that song. And when he was doing the verses, he was showing clips of all these horrible things that were happening in the world. You know, riots and police brutality and looting and wars and even in other countries. You know, because John Lennon wasn't really an American. He was born in England. But that was kind of a famous song during 9/11 too. A bunch of people got together in Union Square, believe it or not, and sang that song. And if you want to see that, go type in your description up on top there, or your search bar. Type in 7 Days of September and watch that whole thing. That was interesting. But how do we stop all this negativity that's going on in the world? Not just shootings and stabbings and stuff, but I think the number one thing we need to do is just turn off the TV. You know, if you stop watching the news, their ratings are going to go way down. Sorry about the background noise, it's one of my neighbors. Their ratings are going to go way down. You don't have to know what's going on in the world. Maybe that'll shut somebody up too by turning off the news. I won't mention who I'm talking about. But anyway, we don't need to lose any more people. I'm not just going to say kids, because as I said, I mean, Las Vegas. That guy didn't even know any of those people at that festival. And yet he shot them from a very high floor of the Mandalay Bay across the street. I don't even know the distance from that room to all those people that were celebrating. And the other thing that comes to mind, this is how I'm going to end this, and it doesn't have anything to do really with shootings, but it does have to do kind of with a good news story that I've been hearing about in recent weeks, is that the conflict in Israel and Gaza and Palestine seems to be coming to an end. But I think I've talked about this in other videos. But you need to think. All these college kids would sit there and watch the news, and see that Israel was fighting back against Gaza and the Palestinians and all that. And then they were taking out their frustrations on their fellow classmates, whether they knew them or not, and beating up on Jewish people because of the conflict going on in Israel, without even thinking or doing their own research about how the whole thing started in the first place. Do you even remember? It's been going on for, I don't even know how many years now. Israel is always in a fight, okay? They did not instigate this one. These people were celebrating a Jewish holiday, and they were also at an outdoor music festival, when all of a sudden, from the land, from the air, all these terrorists come in and start killing all of them. They start kidnapping them. These people did nothing to those people that were coming in and killing everybody and kidnapping them and taking them hostage and raping them and cutting off body parts and all this stuff. Yes, it's something to celebrate that they're now releasing those that they kept during this whole time. And those people are very grateful to be back with their families, but I'm sure that they're going to have trauma for the rest of their lives. I mean, you see them all smiles in pictures because they're being reunited with their families and they're away from the Hamas. But that's how it really started. And people were questioning, how did the Hamas paratroop into that area without being detected? Did my research on that too. See, I do research. I don't just listen to the news. And I haven't really been paying attention to the screen. I've been noticing lately with my videos, sorry, I'm sidetracking. I've been noticing with my videos, I keep my camera steady, but for some reason the lighting tends to go dark and light and dark and light. I'm not sure why it does that. This is a new camera, or a newer camera that I got last year for my trip to San Diego. But I did some research on this, and they found, I mean, granted, yeah, this was on the news media, but it was people that actually did research, and it wasn't the American media, okay? They found that somehow the Hamas was able to hack into, what do they call it in Israel? That there's a specific word that they use for like these satellites that pick up on bombs and stuff like that that are coming in so that they can protect themselves. And I don't remember what they called it. If you know what it is, leave it in the comments below. I can't right now, sitting here thinking about it, I can't think of what they call it. But it's like a protection thing for Israel, so that they know when they're being bombed or attacked from other countries. And that way they have an early detection system, and they call it something, but I don't remember what it is. Anyway, they shut that thing down. They hacked into it and they took them all offline. That's how they were able to get those bombs in there. That's how they were able to paratroop in there. And that's how they were able to cut through the wires that were keeping, that, you know, it's kind of like a wall between Gaza and Israel. They cut through that. And they got in. And they killed all those Israelis. They kidnapped them. And they held them hostage all this time. And now it seems like they're reaching a peace deal on that, which is a good thing, right? But these college kids only watch the news, and their emotions are fed off of what they hear on the news, and we got to go and kill all these, or beat up all these Israelis and these Jewish people because they're doing all these bad things to the Palestinians and the innocent people. They're not all innocent people, folks. Everybody seems to have it out for Israel. They're a very peaceful country. They're a very small country. To be honest with you, I think they said that it's even smaller than like Rhode Island. Or it's about the same size as Rhode Island, maybe a little bit bigger than Rhode Island. I don't know. I've never been to Rhode Island, but it's not a very big country. So why does everybody hate Israel? I don't understand it. Is it because of their religious background? I don't know. I honestly don't know. But it's good that they're coming to a peace agreement now. And they have a ceasefire. I don't know if it's, I mean, I'm not really paying attention so much to the news. Trying not to anyway. But the last I heard is that they signed a peace deal and that they're releasing these hostages. Why they didn't release them en masse, I don't know. But they are slowly releasing the hostages that they still have, which is a good thing, obviously. I mean, it's not good that these people have been separated from their families for so long and that they've been tortured this whole time. And maybe had to see their friends and family die in front of them. But that's really what started it, is the Hamas started it from Gaza. Not to sound like an elementary kid, oh, they started it. But, sorry, that sounds stupid. Which brings to mind a phrase from Hamilton. Silver Star is saying it right now. Mr. President, I don't know what you heard, but whatever it is, Jefferson started it. But it's really not funny. It's a very serious situation. And it's ending in a very good way. Not for everybody, obviously, but at least it's coming to an end, which is good. But we need to stop focusing on the negative. Just turn off your news. Don't watch the news. Just go out and enjoy life. You know? God gives us a sunrise and a sunset every day. He gives us beauty in nature. You know, even New York has a giant park in the middle of it that probably makes you feel like you're out in the country instead of in the middle of a major metropolitan area. You know, get away from your electronics. And if you have like a lake nearby or a park nearby, I mean, granted, it's the middle of the winter, so you probably don't want to do that right now. But unless you like the snow and the cold. But get outside and get away from your electronics. I mean, obviously watch my videos, but, you know, at least I don't always have negative things to say. You know, I'm just bringing, this is a very sad video, I understand that. And it's kind of a negative video, but I'm really basically just bringing you facts that I researched. And I strongly encourage you guys to pick a topic that you find near and dear to your heart. And don't go to the news media. Do your own research on it. Even if it means that you go to, like for me, it's the homeless and puppy mills, which I wish that they would end all that stuff. And I know that I've said this in other videos, but for me, it's homelessness. And so I've done research on homelessness. And maybe I'll do a video on that. To say how homelessness has expanded. And you know, you think of the homeless and you think, oh yeah, they're all druggies, they're all alcoholics, all this and that, and you know, they probably live a lavish lifestyle, but they're standing on a street corner. I'll have to write that one down. This story that I heard back when I was working at Wells Fargo years ago, that I heard on the radio that really upset a lot of people in the Twin Cities. Maybe I'll do that one time once I'm done making this video and I'm uploading it onto the computer. But some people do take advantage. And not every homeless person out there is a druggie, is an alcoholic. In this day and age, when I'm hearing that a dozen eggs is costing in upwards of $7 to $8 for a dozen eggs at your grocery store. Not every grocery store has it that way. I did do a little bit of research, and there are some grocery stores around here that are selling them for like $4 a get. I want to say a gallon. I don't know why. $4 a dozen. Some as low as $3.99, basically $4. Or you can just go out and buy some chickens. But with grocery prices going up so much, people can't afford anything. Like, for instance, when I was laid up with my foot, and I was in my bed for about 2 weeks, not being able to really move around a lot because I couldn't put any weight on my left foot when I still had the cast on it, I get a notification from my bank on my phone late one night, and it said, "We noticed that there has been a charge on your bank card at Walmart for $217. I went, what? First of all, I don't do online purchases. And if I do, it's once in a great while, maybe once a year for like a calendar or something. But I don't buy things online. Maybe, well, travel, yeah, but I mean, items, like magazines or books or movies or whatever. I go to the store and buy that stuff. So obviously, I hadn't been to Walmart because I couldn't leave my house. I mean, technically I could, but I would have had to have somebody drive me. But anyway, I did not make the purchase. So I immediately contacted Wells Fargo back and said, no, I did not make this purchase. And so they clarified with me, okay, did you make this purchase? Did you make this purchase? Did you go to this store and make this purchase on this date? And so I'd say, yes, yes, yes. This one I did not make at Walmart for $200. They said, well, have you had your card with you the whole time? I said, yes, it's always in my purse. Have you let anybody else use your card? Well, because I was laid up and I needed groceries, and Silver Star needed gas one time, and she didn't have the money to pay for gas because she was paying off all of her other bills, so she didn't have money for gas. I did let her use my card, but I've never had a problem with her like taking a picture of my card and using my money or anything, ever. And the same thing with Sea Dog. I did the same thing with him. He had to go and pick up my prescriptions, and so I gave him my card to go do that so that I was paying for it. And I know he would not have done that. I mean, they're just not like that. So I know it wasn't them. And I even asked Silver Star if she had done it, because I know sometimes she shops at Walmart. But she said, no, it wasn't me. I don't go shopping at Walmart anymore, and I definitely wouldn't charge $200 on you, knowing how your financial situation right now. So I knew it wasn't them. So they canceled my card. They refunded the money back into my bank account and had to send me out a new card, which was kind of a pain in the butt because I have several automatic payments that come out for like bills and stuff that were associated with the old card. So I had to think, okay, which companies do I have this card connected with that I have to contact to give them the new information for the new card? That was kind of a pain. So yeah, I've been taken advantage of. And I'm sure that's worked with you as well. It's, all these scammers out there. They all know that we're catching on to them, so they're trying to find new ways to take advantage of us. So many videos out there where even the police and the FBI are calling them back and screwing around with them. So that was something negative that happened to me when I was laid up. But thankfully my bank caught it and had to go through that rigmarole. But getting back to my topic at hand, I'm kind of all over the place today. I think if we teach our children not to bully, give them self-esteem, self-respect, and teach them to love, I think that's kind of the first step. We need to stop pumping everybody with pills. You know, yes, there are certain illnesses that are out there that you have to take pills for. Cancer, MS, MD, you know, that kind of thing. But with mental illness, I mean, even since COVID, I think mental illness has exploded, for sure, in this country. Can't speak for other countries or anything, but I think I'm going to make that the topic of another video too, is my research on COVID as well. I think I've touched on that in other videos, but not done like an actual video about COVID specifically. So I think I might do that as well. But let's spread positivity. Let's turn off our TVs, turn off the news. Don't even go to news sources, and that's good advice for me too. I do that too. But we need to spread positivity, and then maybe all of this stuff will stop. Maybe. Or at least slow down considerably. You know? If you see somebody that seems to be troubled, go be a friend to them. I mean, don't risk your life for it, obviously, but, you know, be a friend to them. That's probably all they really need. Like I said, you know, the last thing on the triggers is a desire for attention. You know, retaliate against bullying. If you see somebody being bullied, don't pull out your phone and take a video to post it on YouTube. Go help that person. You be the hero. You be their angel. I think that's great advice for everybody. So I'm sorry this was such a downer of a video, but it's something I think we need to talk about. Because instead of, oh God, here's another school shooting. Okay, we're going to be hearing about this for a few days, and then we'll go on with our lives. Let's stop the school shootings. Let's stop these mass shootings. Let's stop all this negativity and spread it with positivity. You know? Think of your own way of how to do that. And, you know, I brought up, you know, my passion is the homeless. And people might wonder, why are you so passionate about the homeless? Were you homeless? Close. I was close to homelessness. I kind of felt homeless. I was what you would call a couch surfer. Many years I did not have my own place. I lived with somebody else where they paid the bills. I mean, yeah, I paid my portion, but it wasn't really my place. Till now. And it feels good to be in my own place now. But why am I so passionate about the homeless? Because it was introduced to me as a child. Not because I was homeless as a child. I grew up in a very middle-class family, but my dad worked very hard for what we had. We didn't live in a mansion. As a matter of fact, we lived in what we called a rambler. Okay? What they call, I think today they call it a ranch-style house. One-story house with a basement. They added on to it years later. It was a house that my parents actually built. And then in the 70s, when I was still very young, my mom's parents wanted to live next door, so they had a house built next door to us that my grandparents lived in. So those two houses are next door to each other. And if you want to see those houses, you can go to my playlist, and I have another series that I was doing. I don't think I ever really finished it, but it was a trip down memory lane, where I where I show you different residences that I lived in. Not all of them, but a fair amount of them. And I think the first one I showed you was the house that I grew up in. And then the house next door to it was my grandparents' house, my mom's parents. And I grew up as a Catholic. And I now identify as a Christian. I don't identify with any specific religion, because religion and faith to me are two different things. But getting off topic, our church was part of this program with many other churches in the Twin Cities that was called Loaves and Fishes. And once a month, each church on a Wednesday would go into downtown Minneapolis, and we would prepare a spaghetti dinner for the homeless. I didn't understand it when I was that young. I was in early elementary school when my parents brought us down there. And you might think, oh my gosh, why would your parents bring you at such a young age into downtown Minneapolis with all these homeless people? It was very safe back then, in my opinion. I mean, maybe it wasn't, but I was very sheltered as a kid, so I didn't feel in danger or anything. I mean, yeah, these people were not clean. They smelled. They had ratty clothes and everything, nothing like what we wore, but it was to me, it was fun to serve these people because they were so grateful for that free meal that we served them. And I was too young to understand, but we did that for a very long time. And so that's why I am so compassionate to the homeless, because I had that experience when I was very young. And with puppy mills, I didn't really get into that until after I moved back to Minnesota from Illinois, and I had Rainbow and Lucky, my dogs, and I did research, and I really wish I wouldn't have bought my dogs from Petland, knowing where pet stores get their dogs from, or their pets from. My dogs actually came from the same breeder in Lake Mills, Iowa. And when I called the Humane Society about it, they said, yeah, he's one of the biggest puppy mills in the country. I said, then why can't you guys shut him down? They said, because we can't. You have to go to the local police department. Well, I wasn't going to camp out in Lake Mills, Iowa and do, undercover work and then take it to the police down there. That's like 2 hours south of the Twin Cities. So I didn't feel I had any real proof other than the fact that he had, my dogs, when they were puppies, came from him as a breeder. And then the word from the Humane Society, but I had no hard proof of it. So that's why, as far as I know, he still runs his puppy mill. His name is Brad Grotewald. Grotewald. Last I checked, he was still breeding puppies. He's not doing Los Apsos anymore, but he is still breeding puppies. And people like that make me sick, because I wouldn't think that they would treat their kids like that. So that's why puppy mills are near and dear to my heart, that I want to cancel them, So at this point, I'm going to go ahead and let you guys go. And as I always close out my videos, I always say, have a sunny day. And I'm sure some of you wonder, what does that really mean? I'm not exactly sure. To be honest with you, I'm not exactly sure. But apparently I'm not the only one that uses that phrase, because I started looking up on Google, like t-shirts that have the phrase of have a sunny day. They actually sell t-shirts on Google, probably through Amazon or whatever, or eBay, that have a sun on it that says have a sunny day. They're not my design. But apparently I'm not the only one that uses that phrase. But I first started using that phrase when I was working as a temp years ago for this company, and I had to send emails to the clients. And I thought, well, I could do the typical, have a good day, or sincerely, or whatever. And I looked out the window and I thought, I want to do something a little bit different. So I'm like, and then I realized that the sun was shining that day. And I'm like, oh, it's sunny out. Have a sunny day. I'm like, that's a cute idea. So that's why I chose that as my outro, my tagline on my videos. So it can mean whatever you want. It can mean positivity. Even if it's a cloudy day, even if you're having a bad day, have a sunny day in your heart. Let the sun shine on you and let the sun shine from you. So not only do I want you to have a sunny day, I want you to take your sunshine as my sunshine fam and spread your sunshine to others, which I'm sure you already do. But if you don't, start doing it. And let's spread some love. Let's spread some love, folks. Some sunshine and love. Sunshine and love. So, we will see you guys on the next one. And you have a sunny day. Bye-bye. I messed it up.